Well then, 2 weeks comes and goes, and we are back once again. And somehow, after this one, a quarter of the way through the 2025 season. Hello, one and all, and welcome back to GPVWC Superlights, the second rung, and of course, the best racing available on the GPVWC calendar. And you join us today at a track that is nicknamed the fastest street circuit in the world. That's right, it is the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia, a track that's only existed for a handful of years, but has become a real modern classic with the tough racing and even tougher punishing behavior that it gives. You make a mistake, and boy oh boy, your race will be over in the blink of an eye. Hello, welcome one and all. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, with of course Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras, and the legendary Carlos Martin alongside me in the commentary box. Carlos, how are we feeling looking forward into this one?
Well, today is a super interesting race. We can expect a lot of surprises today. I think this is another batch of upgrades, and I think the teams are starting to understand the cars better. And maybe we can see a different order right now in the grid. So I'm really looking forward for that.
Yeah, lots of upgrades, lots of things to talk about, a few driver changes as well. You are just joining us, I believe we're just coming to the end of our practice sessions, and indeed we are. There's about 20 seconds left until the checkered flag waves. And then, of course, we'll be heading into qualifying, then the warm-up, and then the race. 41 laps awaits us around the 6.1, roughly 6.2 kilometre circuit, which has 24, 25 corners. It always escapes me how many there are, but there's a lot of twists and turns here in Saudi Arabia. But yeah, a lot of things to talk about going into this. A lot of interesting developments have occurred in the couple of weeks since we were last here. First of all, happy anniversary, everyone. This is the 100th GPVWC Superlights race. So that's a big occasion for us here in Superlights. So congratulations to us, I suppose. Here's to another 100 coming in the future. Now then, let's talk about some of the driver movements coming into here for starters. First of all, and undoubtedly the biggest one, welcome back to Superlights, David Feidock. That is right, Fide back, I guess? I don't know, but David Feidock, after a few races, He was scheduled to be driving for True North this season. Unfortunately had to drop out a little while before the start of the year, had some personal issues going on, then has been hunting for a drive the last couple of races, and now he has finally found one. He'll be stepping into the number 87 Lunark car. And let me tell you, at the moment, in practice, currently second fastest. The man who was first at the end of practice with the checkered flag waving, the man who replaced him at True North at the start of the season, the Hungarian Norbert Jakab. So that could be a bit interesting. Got a couple of other drivers in the cars this weekend as well that we maybe haven't quite seen before. No Philip Pushka this evening, so that's a big name that we're already missing. Owen Phil Haugsvig is making his debut this season in the drag racing car in his place. We're also seeing Mika Hakimi making his first Superlights appearance this evening for KV86 Powerhouse, and a couple of other drivers here and there as well who are stepping into the car for the first time this season. Should be interesting to see who's staying, who's going, who's just a reserve driver stepping in, maybe some permanent changes. Another big thing on the driver front, Carlos, of course, as you broke the news of this earlier, Jose Soriano, race winner the last 2 rounds. I forget the official term. He didn't dislocate his shoulder. He sort of dislocated his shoulder, so he's driving one-handed apparently. Do you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, he just suffered an accident that anyone can happen, and he's here. He's leading the championship, and that's why he's here. Probably, if he was in any other position, he will have rested this GP. So he understands how important this is for his opportunity chances. We see he's not very competitive in P12, which is very uncommon from him, but at the end, this race is super chaotic. Anything can happen. And shout out to Norbert, P1 in the practice, David Fidok, P2, which Lunark hasn't been this strong in the whole season, and we were expecting them to be in this fight. Of course, we didn't expect Fidok to actually race for Lunark, but I mean, things that can happen. And then as a consequence, if Lunark is fast, Kings is fast. Luke Mitchell is also really fast, and well, we can see a very unpredictable qualifying and very unpredictable race, which can shake up the championship very much, which is interesting to see as always. And as an upgrade report, I've checked all the teams, and most of the teams brought the same for this round. And they basically brought chassis mass and underfloor. The majority of teams, the only team that didn't bring mass and underfloor is Drake Racing, which they brought drag and underfloor. So yeah, most of the teams are starting to do the same choices right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of changes coming into this one in terms of drivers, in terms of car upgrades. Should be very interesting to see. We are now underway for our qualifying session. 15 minutes of private qualifying to see what the drivers can do. And there goes David Fidok underway to start his first qualifying lap of 2025. And it is great to have him back on the grid. He was messaging me saying he wasn't feeling super confident heading in this weekend. Still a little bit of time to catch up with the other drivers. He said that, you know, obviously he's a couple races behind. He still needs to A, get back into a Superlights car and understand how they drive, and obviously B, get back into the racing rhythm. When everyone else in the grid, they're going to have the knowledge of the cars, the knowledge of the tyres heading forward. They're 3 races in, a 3-race advantage in terms of understanding the machinery underneath them that he doesn't have. So he was feeling a little bit nervous, but again, second at the end of practice. Maybe not looking too bad for our good friend David Fidok. So we'll have to wait and see what he can do in this qualifying session. But yeah, Norbert Jakab looking very quick at the end of practice. Joseph Herlock up there as well. So it should be interesting to see what he can do behind the wheel of the Optiminal car. And as Fidok pushes his way around, that's coming down to the final corner. He will start his first flying lap, takes a very wide line. Let's go on board with David Fidok as he comes towards the start-finish line and see what he can do. DRS will be open, I'm sure, using a bit of push to pass as he makes his way up the front stretch. We'll be getting not quite to 320 kilometers an hour before the very awkward turn number 1. That is sure to cause some chaos on the opening lap. Now making his way through, we've got some very, very difficult sweeping S's that aren't quite flat out, but at the same time, you don't want to scrub off too much speed. But at the same time, if you do take too much speed into him, it's going to punish you and throw you straight out into the wall. It's very much a balancing act on a nice edge as you make your way through there, but Fired Up looking pretty comfortable. Hasn't looked like he's lost any of his talent during the off-season. Now then, the slightly banked hairpin at the bottom of the circuit. You can take a wider line through there if you wish and carry more speed into this not quite a back straight section, but all these sections are flat out until you get to this big right. Don't want to clip that inside wall. That'll be curtains for the end of your day. Then bring the car over to the left and back over to the right as we head into the final DRS section. This is all, well, the second DRS section, should I say, because as we go down here, then we see it's big left-hander again, blind. You don't want to scrub off too much speed. The car's naturally going to understeer through that portion of the racetrack. Now we're into the final DRS section and making our way flat out towards the final corner. Here we will hit over 320 kilometers an hour, 322 I just saw on the dashboard there. Fired Up makes his way out of the last corner, runs it right up to the wall. Jose Soriano with the first lap time of the session, but immediately demoted down. Where does Fired Up slip in? Goes third after his first attempt, and the top 3 all within a second or a tenth of a second of each other, should I say. Scott Mitchell, Luke Mitchell even, should I say, currently on provisional pole. Norbert Jakob P2, David Fired Up P3, and Jan Dragoon in P4. Those True North cars looking very, very patey. Matthews Pishkam, he slides into P16. So that's an onboard lap here of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Carlos, obviously you'll be racing here in a couple nights' time in Super League. What do we need to understand here in order to go fast?
There are a lot of sacrifices because this is such it has a good combination of corners. We see there are very fast sections, but there are also very slow corners as well. And basically that means that you need to choose when the car is good. Is the car going to be good on low fuel? Is the car going to be good on high fuel, in slow corners, fast corners? So we could see very changing things, that maybe some competitors are very strong in qualifying, but then suddenly they struggle in the race because you add so much load on the tires here. It will be very interesting to see. You can do a lot of stuff. You can go very low wings and then have an amazing top speed. As we can see, for example, Luke Mitchell is one of the highest top speeds as well. Whereas we can see some other teams that are like loading more the car with downforce, with more heavy wings. Like for example, Tom Southerly, we can see he's the lowest top speed right now. So many different options, and it will be interesting here. Nailing the lap is very difficult. There is a bump in turn 22. Yes, turn 22 is the most difficult corner. I've seen, very surprisingly, Fido was able to go over this bump, and this means that the car is just where it needs to be. It's just like fantastic, and when you put the combination together of driver, setup, and car, then you get this result that Kings and Lunar are just achieving right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great lap so far for Luke Mitchell, who's not had the biggest run of the green so far this season, and I think it's safe to say neither have Kings Racing in general. Last time out, of course, he was caught up in an incident, and that put an end to his race, unfortunately for him. But yeah, currently sitting top of the timing screens. So it is looking good so far for Luke Mitchell. We'll have to wait and see if he can stay that. Yeah, he's really not had the greatest opening to his season so far. A P8 and a DNF out of the 2 rounds that he's entered. He wasn't with us in Australia. So yeah, great stuff from him to be up the top. And again, the True North guys being up the competitive. David Firelock straight away in the Lunut car. Optiminal still there. It's a very, very mixed up top end of the grid, it is safe to say, as it stands. And it could be very interesting moving forward in this race. So it doesn't look like we've got a full 30 car grid on the server at the moment. Yeah, a few people dropping in and out as it stands, so hopefully everything okay, and hopefully we can get everybody in to the session when we are able to. But currently it is Luke Mitchell from Norbert Jakob, from David Fidock, your top 3, all within just over half a tenth of a second of each other as Mika Hakimi clobbers the outside wall, coming to complete his lap at the last turn. He will still push and complete it. That puts him 23rd, just ahead of Rotjav, who's jumping into the Gallery 82 car this weekend, or this evening, should I say. It is a Tuesday after all. So Hakimi, a little bit of time to improve on his debut event in Superlights here. So we'll wait and see if he can try and move forward, or if maybe that is going to be where he starts heading in for his first Superlights race. Jan Dragoon pushing onwards, trying to improve. He's got 2 green sectors so far. His current lap time is 2 tenths off of pole sitter Luke Mitchell. This is one of those circuits where every single sector is going to be different because there's so many different ways you can set up the car. There's so many different driving lines. It's rare that you're going to find one driver or one car that's going to dominate over the entire course of the racetrack. Dragoon with a power slide as he exits the final corner, brings it to the line, 129 to beat, 0.6. He goes slightly closer and makes it 4 cars now, all within a tenth of a second of each other up the front of the grid. Goodness gracious me. David Fidel, can he improve? Comes to the line and he goes to pole. David Fidel now a 129.592. The man who didn't think he was going to be on the pace is looking racy as he's ever been. Herlock with a purple middle sector gets it wrong at the final corner. Will have to abandon that lap. 6 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this qualifying session. Carlos Martin, it could be all change at the front because it looks like everyone's getting together good laps. It's just that people aren't quite stringing them together yet.
Well, this is a really difficult track. This is one of the most challenging tracks that there is in the calendar, especially in qualifying conditions when the car gets extremely fast with the overtake mode fully available for the whole lap, and then the height of the car gets very low. The car starts stalling way more than what you will actually do in the race. Ironically, in the race the cars are way easier to drive, and should be for the drivers just with much more ease, let's say, to drive through it. But yeah, driving in qualifying in this track is super difficult, as we see Ruven Neshede, who hasn't set the lap yet, is doing a really nice, good first sector. Now he's pushing to do a really good sector 2. We will see now this flat out zone. He opens the DRS here. He could have used a bit more of track here. He stays a bit on the left, but I think we will see many drivers staying more on the right. As we see, he's currently improving the P1's sector 2 right now. So he's contesting right now to be P2 in the grid. Ruven Neshede pushing very hard to actually achieve maybe a front row grid or even pole position. A bit of sliding in the last corner there. Now he will close the lap in position number 3. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that slide in the last corner, I think he just punished him fairly bit. But yeah, it's still a really good lap. He will have another shot. He just needs to do proper in lap pretty fast. I think he should maybe speed up. He has the time, but otherwise you will be in a rush in the last lap. You don't really want to be exactly the last one in case someone crashes. You don't want to get those yellow flags or damage within the road. So yeah, now we can see that there are very few cars on the track. We see Jose Soriano is not improving, so probably he will abort the lap. We can see Maxim Bulio, yeah, who's actually improving with a 33.52 in sector 1, just 1/10 off from the lead. Really nice sector 1 from Maxim. We'll see how strong. Ooh, wow, so close to the wall. That's how you get the lap times, with confidence, pushing the throttle hard and with the stability in the car in those corners. And we see he's just 39 thousandths of pole position. I think this corner was rather a bit slow, turn 22, a bit slow for Maxime, but still this lap time will set him very, very, very high in the grid. So Fusion Racing looking really, really strong here as well. So everything super tight, as we have seen in all previous rounds. We'll see Maxime Bulio closing the lap, also super close on the wall in the last corner. We'll see he's opening DRS to finish the lap in position number 10. Ooh, yeah, I think that turn 22 punished him fairly bit. It looked a bit slow. Turn 22. As we see Joseph Herlock also improving his lap. Ooh, a small touch in the last corner in the wall, and he goes to the pits because he's not happy with it, and he wants to go for another attempt. As we see Mika Hakimi starting now his own fastest lap. We'll see now taking the curbs, turn 1 and 2. Good exit, going through 3, approaching to turn 4. You need to get close to both walls here, not touch the outside curb. I think he was hesitating here a bit, and you can see his car is wobbling slightly bit. We'll see now he's sending it through the really fast corners. A bit too wide there. If you touch the curb there too high, you just ground and lose the speed. Yeah, it's 7/10 off. So we see also Fidok improving his lap time right now. And I think Fidok is just contesting for pole right now, because this, I mean, P1 improving the lap time, it's gonna be, wow, it's so close. He's just 4,000 improving. His last sector was really strong, so it will be maybe difficult for him to actually close up on improving the lap. But let's see, he goes very close to the walls right now, and we see he's going for the last corner. He's going a bit too wide. He missed the apex, and maybe he just aborts the attempt. But I think if he aborts the attempt, he will not have any other one. So he's just finishing the lap time. Ooh, with a very small improvement. Just super small improvement, 8,000s. But hey, you never know. Maybe those 8,000s are important.
I don't think he's going to have time to complete another lap, though. He's going to get back round, get back into the pits, and then head out. Yeah, there's just not enough time there for David Fidok. So that is his last attempt. What can anyone do? Owing for Haugsvik, just jumping into the Drake Racing car in place of Philip Pushka, who's been on the podium every race this season so far. Let's see what he can do. He has not set a lap time yet, joined the session a little bit late. So we now have 28 cars, two of which haven't set a lap time. Phil Haugsvik about to do that. It's going to be one and done. He will slot into 25th place. Not been the greatest showing this evening from Drake Racing so far, unfortunately, after their strong results over the first 3 rounds. Daniel Scott, Rookie Monsters, he'll be looking to improve. Teammate Robin Merling up in 13th place. He is currently 10 spots behind, as that is a very interesting interpretation of track limits heading down, coming into this final awkward little chicane before it's the flat-out blast through the sweepers into the final corner with the help of the DRS as well. 25 seconds left on the clock. Checkered flag will be waving very shortly. What can Daniel Scott do? This is it. Last chance saloon for the Scotsman. Comes out of the final corner. Leaves a little bit of space. There was about a foot of space there to the wall. Could have got a bit closer, but of course don't want to risk hitting it. He slots into P18. That will be the end of his qualifying as the checkered flag now waves. Matthias Canapino getting all sorts of sideways out of the final corner, but the lap looks good. Can he improve on P10 to the line? Shortest run, 6th place. Great lap there from the PZZW driver, and wow, that is monstrous stuff. Slots ahead of the likes of Joseph Herlock. I believe we've just lost someone from the session. They've just bounced out someone up the front. Looks like it was Jan Dragoon, who was up there near the front of the Packers. Victor Borley, another driver who is on 1 lap or bust. 8 tenths down in the opening sector. He is in the Alpha Sierra car.
Machete is very strong.
Yeah, Ruben Machete up into P3 as well. I believe he's still on lap, and look at that. Purple first sector for Ruben Machete. Here we go, then he was looking mighty last time out until the tyres went away from underneath him at Suzuka. Is this the time when he goes forth and finally proves that he has what it takes in GPVWC Superlights? Bounces over the curves. Purple in sector 2 as well. Is now Ruben Machete's time. 8th gear, climbing up to 320 Ks with the DRS open. Down the back straight, hard into the braking zone. 1 corner to go. Don't Verstappen it, Ruben. Don't mess it up. Apex is a little bit late and does clip wall, but able to continue forwards. It was only the lightest of kisses on the run to the line. Is it going to be pole position by 1/10 for Ruben Machete? What a lap time at the death there for the Optimal driver. And that is how it's done, with a little kiss, a little love tap into the wall as well, to stick that car on pole position. What an end to qualifying we've just seen. And Carlos Martin, a 10.5 ahead of David Feidock. In sim racing terms, that is a long, long time.
Yeah, it's a really insane lap time. You could see how hard he was pushing through Sector 2, and the small mistake he did in Sector 3, and it was still very valid for him to take pole position. Ruben Machete was, well, he took pole position as well in at Suzuka. So he's very strong. He's showing up that the quali pace is there. And now he just needs to put it together for the race. As we see Ruben Machete, pole position for Optimal Esports. David Feidock in his return, P2 for Lunak. Luke Mitchell, P3 for Kings Racing. P4, P5 for both True North Motorsport drivers, Nora Jakob and Jan Dragoon. Josef Herlock and Dragoon are both P5. Well, I guess this is the disconnection you were mentioning, so probably there is a mismatch here. Well, Patrick Magnussen P6, Matias Canapino P7, Jose Soriano P8, Maxime Bullier P9. Surely there need to be a fix.
I've seen it before. I think sometimes in R Factor 2, when you leave a session, it just...
And here it happens again. Federico Russo, P10, Tom Sadley, presumably P11, Mirko Lucchini, P12, Robin Merlin, P13, Cash Riedel, P14, Alexander Rogosa, P15, David Kurupa, P16, Daniel Scott, P17, Renko Desiu, P18, Harry Smith, P2 last Grand Prix, P19. Mateusz Pichen, P20, Kerry Royar, P21, Tom Vanderbilt, P22, Steven Lexel, P23, Mika Häkkinen, P24, Owen Kavilhavsik, P25, Victor Burley, P26, Jan Sikora, P27, and Scott Mitchell-Malm, P28. I presume some drivers will keep on joining through the qualifying session, because maybe some teams are missing their reserve drivers to do the R&D test, and maybe they are just getting late for the qualifying. And well, what are your conclusions? What are your feelings after the qualifying, Ross?
Well, what a qualifying session we've had. I mean, I'm hoping that all the yeah, I'm hoping. Oh, Carlos, that's your pit box that we're in currently. Yeah, I'm hoping that everything's going to get sorted out in terms of the timings. I think that yeah, I'm pretty certain that Jan Dragoon left the session at the end, whether that was his own doing or whether there was a connection issue, which is why we saw a lot of drivers saying as they were in the same position on the grid. We did have 29 cars there at the end, so the only car we are now missing is the other Lunart car of Mike Witt. So right there we saw the other Kings Racing car of Scott Mitchell. He didn't set a lap time, but he did join the session. So there are 29 cars now registered so far. Hopefully we can get a full house of 30. We'll have to wait and see. But man, oh man, what a qualifying session we've just seen there. Ruben Machete, incredible lap time at the end there. He's only done 2 races this season. Missed out the first round in Australia. Round 2 in Turkey, came home in 4th place in just the chaos in Istanbul. And then last time in Japan, was looking like he may have been on for a win at certain points in the race. Unfortunately, wasn't on the right strategy. The tyres fell apart underneath him, and ultimately it was Jose Soriano who took his 2nd win of the season. But of course, Soriano's driving injured. We've got no Philip Pushka. Ruben Machete right now, unless you factor in the likes of Norbert Jakabel, Jan Dragoon, who've looked competitive all season, he seems like he's in the best spot to win this race currently. So that is a fantastic qualifying we've just seen. If you are just joining us, boy oh boy, rewind and watch the last couple of minutes of that, because that was simply out of this world. Anyway, hello and welcome to Superlights 100, the 100th race in GPVWC Superlights history. And what a time we are having here on this historic occasion. Myself, Ross McIntyre, with Carlos Martin, Super League race winner, alongside me in the commentary box, and of course, Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras, and as always doing a fantastic job there. 41 laps awaits us around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. For some drivers it very may well be one corner and your night is done, knowing how this track can be, but we'll wait and see. We're just underway in our warm-up session now, which of course means we've now got our new thing where we talk about some of the different teams, and this week it is TTF Racing that we're going to talk about. and yeah, just discuss, you know, what they've been doing, how they are, you know, stuff that they've been up to, and all of that. So yeah, TTF, of course, last year they were, it was their first season in Superlights last year, if I believe, and well, they're now heading into their second season. They're a team that's been around for a long old time, and it's a great.
No, Ross. No. They have been in Superlights for longer because
I looked at the wrong team on my stat sheet, which is why they've been around in Superlights for a long time. It's just that last year wasn't their greatest year, unfortunately, which is what I meant. But they've been around for a long old time, and yeah, TTF Racing. I know, Carlos, you clearly know more than me, so I'll just let you talk.
Well, we're celebrating their 100th Grand Prix here in Superlights alone. So they've been here, this is their 7th season in Superlights since 2019. And their lineup with Jan Sikora, who also raced for TTF last year. And they acquired Mateusz Pichon from True North from Mateusz Pichon was driving for True North in 2024, and yeah, it was a bit of some driver swaps that happened between Drake, TTF, and True North. It was like a triple one, right? Well, those are 3 teams that work together, and historically TTF this year is not going the greatest for them. I think Mateusz and Sikora, they also have good potential to get into the top 10, top 8 consistently. If they are in a good shape at their best, they probably can slot themselves in the top 5 like Sikora did in the past. So yeah, they are a solid team. They just need to click everything together, and this happens sometimes. There are some teams that are really strong and are presumably maybe the strongest, and they have like a sloppy start season by different reasons. There are driver reasons, there are personal reasons, there are setup reasons, car reasons, and it's just a matter of time that they will just get the things together, and we will start seeing the good side from them. Yeah, it's definitely interesting what the future unfolds for them. Right now, on the top of my head, I don't. Yeah, I know I just said the results from qualifying from today, but in the top of my head, I cannot remember where they were placed today. I see Mateusz Pichon P21 for today in the qualifying, and Jan Sikora P28. So yeah, it was not the brightest for them, but hey, if any track is okay to not qualify that well, it's this one. Unless there is mess in the race start.
Well, I think what they'll be hoping is that the mess is in front of them, and by the time they get to the mess, everyone's scattered all over the place and they can just side on through.
Did you see Super League last time? What happened? Yeah, like even if there is a mess in front of you, you will eat it.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw Imola in Superlights last year. We all know what can happen. Let's hope that we're not quite getting that this time.
No, we don't want.
Yeah, no, maybe not ideal. Yeah, I'll tell you why I was being super at TTF. It's because I was looking at this year's standings and they just haven't scored any points yet. So I was just a bit like, oh, they must be just my brain short-circuited. So apologies to the whole squad at TTF about that one. Again, it's their 100th race. They've got a good squad. Alex Hallows as well as reserve driver this year, which I think is quite interesting. He's a driver that's never really had any results to back anything up. But the eye test, he's all right on the eye test, and I think there's certainly a lot more to come from him if he was to step full-time into a car. So, you know, there's something, of course, Jan Sikora, Mateusz Pichon. I mean, they've only finished Australia, and then they've had 2 double DNS the last 2 times out, unfortunately for them. It's really been a bit of a rotten start. Hopefully their luck can turn around here on their anniversary race. That would be lovely for them. And again, they're all very nice guys. They all do a very, very good job, don't they? Yeah, they're just nice guys, and they're a good team, and they do an all right job. Of course, based out of England, they've been hanging around here in GPV since 2013. When we used to do touring car stuff back in the day. They used to do some of the touring car stuff, and then kind of since 2017, they've been showing up in the single seaters. And then since 2019, they've been here since the very inception of Superlights. So yeah, a great little squad there. Let's hope that their results improve from beyond the double DNF. Let's hope they can score some points at least on their 100th anniversary race, which of course is a celebration for all of everyone here at Superlights, not just TTF. We are celebrating our 100th race here. So thank you to everyone who has been involved in GPVWC Superlights across the last few years. Thank you to everyone who continues to turn up and race and watch and be part of it. It is really, I do speak from the bottom of my heart when I say it is just some of the most exciting racing you'll find anywhere in the world of sim racing, and it always puts a smile on your face. So then, not long left to go now in the warm-up. Currently 2 minutes left on the clock, so we'll be racing very, very shortly. It's currently Tom Satherley who's got the fastest lap. He was race winner in Australia for Brem GP, as that's someone doing a practice start there. Of course, that's totally fine, and gets away well there at the virtual lights. Of course, you are allowed to press escape back to the pit lane in the warm-up session. Of course, if you do that in race or in qualifying, that is classed as a DNF. You are done, you are out. But here in the warm-up, you can just, smash into a barrier and go back out if you really want. It's the joys of sim racing. No such thing as money needed for crash damage. So yeah, Tom Satherley sitting fastest at the moment. Ruben Machete in P2. Patrick Magnussen in P3. He had a very strong race last time as well. It all fell apart a little bit, unfortunately, but he was looking very, very racy, was the Icelandic driver. Luke Mitchell fourth. Maxime Bulio in P5. Interesting to see the Fusion guys. It wasn't their greatest qualifying session, unfortunately. It was fine. It could have been a lot better, but both of them in Maxime Bulio and Remco de Joux just weren't quite able to string a lap together. Race pace-wise, though, looking okay, but we've also got a fair few drivers who haven't set a lap time yet, so we'll wait and see what's going to happen there. Carlos Martin, what do we think is going to happen in this race? Any predictions? Have we got an idea on a race winner, or is it just whoever survives turn one and manages to get away clean?
Wow. This one is difficult. Like, Suzuka was easier to predict because it's very difficult to overtake here. The lap one is chaotic, and then you can actually have opportunities. We will see huge DRS trains, and the strategy is not clear. There are two options. We didn't speak about the strategy. There are two options in my opinion. There is the one stop with soft to hard, and then there is the two stop with soft, medium, soft. So these are the available strategies for today. Given this fact, I would say it's likely Fidok to take it, right? Because well, I can see, well, Ruben is P1, of course. He's going to be very strong. But I feel like the fact that Kings, which are well, they're not sister teams, but they are teams that work together, Lunar Kings, they can have like a small edge here in the race start and during the strategy. And also they don't share a box, which is fantastic for them. And I think David Fadok is going to take it all the way. We saw Ruben struggling slightly with the tires in Suzuka when Soriano was able to just pull away massively at the end of the race. And I think here, if you don't save tires, you will get eaten alive. So I think Fadok is my safe bet.
Well, what a comeback into GPVWC once again it would be for David Fidok. Again, missed the opening start of last year before jumping in the car, took 3 race wins. Of course, he is a double Super League champion. I believe he's got the record for the most points ever in a Super League as well. Back in 2014, he was on the podium every single race that season. As well, finished vice champion in 2015. He was champion again 2016, and in 3rd place 2017. We know the guy's a good peddler. He can drive. What a comeback that would be for him after, missing the first few races of this season, missing the first few races of last season. He's had a lot of personal issues over the last couple of years, which has got in the way of his sim racing. And, we're always hoping that he can find time to be on the track. And when he does find time to be in the track and he's on it, he is a joy to behold. So is it to be today? I don't know. Machete's lap at the end of qualifying looked absolutely monstrous. And Jan Dragoon, who has now rejoined the session as well, I don't think he was quite able to string a full lap together, but he looked pretty solid out there. The True North guys, I think fighting together up the front, they could be very interesting. But Machete's lap time, Joseph Herlock's there or thereabouts as well, so he's got some backup in his teammate. I think Fidok's certainly one of the drivers that could be there. I just think it's who gets away really at turn 1 and who's able to run well on the tyres. It could be Machete, it could be Fidok, it could be anyone. On the note of tyres, we're running the C4s, the C3s and the C2s this evening. That's from soft to hard, so very middle of the road in terms of the soft-hard scale of what compounds we are using. It's a step up from where we were last time out at Japan. And we're yet to use the softest compounds yet, actually. The first time we'll be using the C5s is when we head to Canada and the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. That's a little bit later in the season. So then, warm-up comes to an end, and we are ready to go racing. We'll be seeing the drivers making their way onto the grid shortly. Then, of course, our formation lap. And then it'll be 5 red lights, and we are underway for 41 laps. Carlos, turn 1 here, ridiculously tricky. It's very, very tight. It's not a very long run down to turn 1 either. It's only about 180 odd meters. What do you need to do to survive there? Is it just kind of hope no one takes you out and just find your own spot and go?
Just go for the spots that nobody is there. I think besides if you start P1 or P2, I think the most important thing is that you find an open space where you can actually brake comfortable and you don't have a car that will slow you down. I think that's the starting principle. You always want to be where nobody is, so you can actually brake later than anyone else, and then you just make yourself the gap. That's how it works. So I think that's the way you. The important thing here, if you're starting, let's say P6, P7, try to not be too eager to win positions, because damage might be maybe meaning dropping a few tenths in pace, and you don't want that. Shall we check the starting grid for tonight's race? We will see Ruben Machete leading here, starting on pole position. David Fidok P2 in his Superlights return. Luke Mitchell P3, Ronaldo Yaka P4. Joseph Horlock P5, Jan Dragoon P6, Patrick Magnusson P7, Matthias Canapino P8. Championship leader Jose Soriano P9, Maxim Bulio P10, Federico Russo P11, Tom Sadley in his return P12. Mirko Lucchini P13, Ruben Möhling P14, Cass Rittel P15, Alexander Rogosa P16 for Gallery 82 Motorsport. David Krupa P17, Daniel Scott P18, Renko Desiu P19, Harry Smith P20 from Network 3P. Mateusz Pishan, TTF Racing, he will try to score the first points for the team in their 101 Prix in Superlights. Ker Rodjar P22, and I missed the P23 and P24, but let's keep going. Mika Hakimi P25, Victor Borley P26, Jan Sikora P27, Mike Quinn with an accent P28. Scott Mitchellman P29, and last in the grid, Owen Givelhafzik. So, I spoke about my bet for the race winning today. What's your bet for the race winning?
I'm going to go with the safe bet and go for Machete from pole position. It was a fantastic lap to get up there. Excuse me. And yeah, I think he looks like he's very comfortable in the car. We saw he had a lot of pace last time at Suzuka. But it could be anyone. It could be anyone. The previous winners we've had here at Jeddah, it's only been 2 races. Last time out, again, excuse me. Oh, too exciting. My throat's all clogging up. Last time out, it was Alex Laho on his way to the championship. In 2023, it was Fabrizio Gobi, one of only 2 race wins that season for the Italian. So there's no real record here in terms of, oh, we're expecting the championship winners to win here. I know those stats sometimes everyone thinks are a little bit silly, but, you know, it's something nice to look at. So I think it's got to be Ruben Machete from the front. But again, I could change my answer within about 30 seconds after turn 1 We'll have to wait and see. It's a corner where you can dive bomb. It's a corner where there can be chaos, of course. Everyone likes to cut turn 2 if they get shoved out wide. And then that goes to the stewards inevitably. Owen Phil Hauksvik comes in to the last place in the grid. We're missing a couple of drivers there on the grid, so something may be going on. Not too sure, but we'll wait and see. Patrick Magnussen starting from the pit. Oh, a few drivers starting from the pit lane. Yeah, Canapino as well. Did they miss getting onto the grid in time? I guess we'll find out. 5 red lights. It is lights out. We are underway. Great start there from Machete, who gets away well in the second phase on the run into turn number 1. Final looks to the inside. We stay clean as Mitchell gets up into P3. Heading around Jan Dragoon, the True North cars looks like they're scrapping together and then split by Joseph Herlock. All green through turn number 1, which is fantastic to see. Tom Satherley making places early doors here for Brem GP as they now make their way through the middle sector. There's Mika Hakimi banging wheels there with another driver. That looks like it was Mike Quint as they now slide their way on through into the second sector. That was a great start though from Ruva Machete, Carlos, and all clean so far on the first lap. I'm still a bit confused about why we've got drivers starting from the pit lane. Phil Hauksvik, Canapino, Patrick Magnussen, all starting from there. Wonder if they maybe decided to change tyres last minute or they didn't make it out onto the grid in time.
No, something happened because the championship leader is not there either way. So something really happened. We don't know. We will need to check later. Now the action is on track. Norbert Jakob P4 now chasing the King's car. We didn't see many position swaps, but we see Fidok being very close here to Ruben Mechede. He's very close. So maybe he wants to take the lead here, but as we saw in Formula 1, maybe it's not the smartest move to go for it here, as we see Ruben Mechede very defensive here. And so I think David Fidok is gonna take it for in P1. Right. Yeah, he's going to attack. They're gonna cross the finishing line side by side. Ruben Mechede probably applying push to push. Fidok going for the inside. They're gonna go into the braking zone. They contact. Now Mechede has the inside. David Fidok takes now the inside for turn 3, but he's investing a lot of P2P to defend this turn 1, position 1, sorry, and Machete still keeps there in P1.
Man, oh man, have we got a race in our hands. Fidok already pulling out some of the top guns in his arsenal as he tries to fight with Machete and then immediately has to go on the defensive as the train starts to form. I believe there may have been, Carlos, an accident on the formation lap. I think we may have missed it, but it's possible that I think Patrick Magnussen and Matthias Canapino came together on the formation lap, and then that's why they both had to come into the pit lane. And again, as you said, we're missing a fair few drivers. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Again, the championship leader, Jose Soriano, nowhere to be seen. It's drama here. Do you know anything more about this?
No, we don't know yet. Apparently, as far as I know, Jose Soriano connection lost in the formation lap. Apparently, it's not the only driver, but yeah, it happens. This is racing. You can have many different issues. So right now, we just need to focus here on what we have in front of us, and we see a lot of fighting here. Herlock P5 now trying to get rid of, Norbert Jakob right now, trying to just get the position. We see a lot of attacking right now here in Jeddah. We will see. He will try through the outside, and we also see Luke Mitchell going through David Fidok, just taking P2 right now. There is a lot of action here. Herlock will try to get it through the outside right now, and we will go into turn 4. Here didn't go well in Formula 1, and yeah, he had to cut the corner because otherwise it doesn't end well there.
Yeah, all banging wheel to side pod, Joseph Herlock and Jan Dragoon, and they're both off the racetrack. That was really brave from Dragoon, who's now taking a very liberal interpretation of track limits. I think the DC could be looking at that one a little bit as they're all scrambling for positions behind. Somehow, there's not been an accident yet, but it is chaos here at Jeddah on lap number 3. We do now have DRS available as well. Up the front of the pack, Ruben Machete leads by about 0.7 of a second from what's happened. Where's David Fidok, who's plummeted away? Have we lost David? Yeah, but David Fidok's last. What's happened to David Fidok? Did he? Oh no!
Ooh.
David Fidok No front wing, no rear wing on his return to GPVWC Superlights. There's been a coming together somewhere. He's going to try and crawl his way back to the pits. What has happened to the double Super League champion? Here we see, following this is after he dropped down to third place. Coming through the early Estes section. Oh, and the curve. Oh, yeah. That's such a shame. Lucky he's able to continue from that one. He will make it back to the pits and try and carry on with the race, I believe. But that is devastating. Here's what happened on the formation lap. Matthias Canapino. What's going on here? So we're on board with him. Oh, what? What?
Wait, what?
What? Okay. We may have some issues. That looks like a game problem because...
No. This is the formation lap.
Yeah, this is the formation lap. It just spits him round. And then... what?
Oh, and then he took the rear wing from Patrick.
Magnussen's like 10 car lengths in front of him.
Yeah. I think the server lagged here or something, and that's why some others DC'd. And then we had this at the race start. Yeah, I mean...
Well then, we've got some issues here, to put it politely. Yeah. Questions will be raised, but let's go focusing on the racing action for the time being. That is one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in sim racing. Up the front though, Luke Mitchell, after getting through David Fidog, now pushes onwards. We've lost Ragotza from this race. He is our first official DNF after the red lights went out. Yellow flag in sector 2. Luke Mitchell with the DRS to the inside into the final corner, gets it done. But did he fall for the bait? Because now Ruven Machete is going to get the DRS up the main straight. If he gets a good exit, dumps that push to pass, he will slide right back on through. But he may be a little bit too far back. I think Luke Mitchell's just about got away with it there. And indeed he has. Luke Mitchell for Kings Racing goes to the lead of the race as we go on to lap number 5. Robin Merling looks to the inside there of Lucchini. Doesn't quite get it done, but on the attack is the rookie Monsters driver as it stands. Can he find a way through into turn number 3? No, not quite. He'll have to settle back into 8th place for the time being. Man, oh man, there's just chaos and drama going on here early doors in Superlights. I think some people are just as confused as we are, because I'm seeing a lot of chatter from some of the team bosses just being like, what is going on? But we're going to focus on the racing action. Yellow flags out in sector 1. We've lost Mika Hakimi as well. Scott Mitchell-Marm into the pit lane. Oh, and that's Stephen Lexo, who looks like he's gone off in the same place as David Fidog and without a rear wing. He is going to try and make it back to the pits and get that repaired. Fidog, of course, it's a lengthy rear wing repair. He's still in the pits and he will be a few laps down. But yeah, I think the curve's potentially a proper issue for some of the drivers. They're just hooking themselves on it, Carlos, and getting spat out into the wall.
Yeah, I mean, that is the skateboard, which I call, like, once you start riding it, there's no turn back. You are hopeless. Like, you need to avoid that curve as much as you can. Don't take the risk, because the risk is not worth the lap time you gain from that is very little. And props to Maxim. He is P5 for Fusion Racing. He is doing an amazing race. And we can see the top 6 in a DRS train. So everything here is open for the race win. Even for the Canadian driver, who can actually take the race victory here tonight. We see Ruben Machete now following Luke Mitchell, who has decided to take the lead from P3. Nobody can actually relax on it, because at any time, at any moment, it can actually happen that anyone loses the car, and then the DRS train is broken, and therefore you must keep yourself awake at all times.
Absolutely, it is imperative that you do that. Just make sure you stay awake, stay pushing, because you never know where a move is going to come from. So Machete seems to be settling down into P2 at the moment, not pushing too hard. We'll wait and see if he can maybe try and slide his way up forwards. But it is Luke Mitchell who now leads this race. The 2023 FS2 champion is doing a fantastic job so far. His best finish of the season of 8th place. The only other result he's had so far this season was a DNF last time out at Suzuka. And now the Kings Racing driver up the front of the pack with 6/10 to the good. Of course, he will face struggle from behind with the DRS train, but for now he seems pretty comfortable. Now it's about settling in, finding your rhythm, and just managing those tyres, because the tyre wear here, it's a bit bizarre. They don't, you know, it's not bad, but when they fall off, they really, really fall off. So you need to be careful for when those tyres hit the cliff. You need to time your pit stop perfectly. The undercut can be very, very strong here if you come out into clean air as well. So we'll have to wait and see who's going to bite the bullet first up the front of the pack, who reckons they need to come in. But right now, everyone doing just fine. David Feiduck has come back out of the pit lane. He's in P26, and I believe he's a couple laps down, unfortunately for him, but he seems determined to finish this race. It may be an unscheduled test session, but that's what the man needs right now, is testing in that car. Despite the fact he was looking fast again, he himself believes he is not quite up to scratch yet. He's 3 races behind everyone else in terms of experience in 2025, so I'm sure that that's why he's just carrying on. He just wants to get used to the car, used to the tyres, try out some different things. So kudos to David Feiduck after a very unfortunate incident for getting back out there and just pushing onwards, and to see what he can do over the remainder of this race. Lap 7 then of 41, and Norbert Jakob, the Hungarian, is looking to try and push onwards, try and get through potentially Ruben Machete, who is now nearly outside of the DRS range of Luke Mitchell, but luckily they do just come into a DRS zone as they hit into it, so he should just about be staying in it. But looks like Luke Mitchell, in terms of race pace right now, is the best driver out on track, Carlos. I don't think Ruben Machete really has an answer at the moment.
No, he doesn't. It looks like he doesn't, and here is where the strategy will get interesting. The pit window for a 2-stopper opens in lap 10. Basically, you can go to the pits from lap 10 onwards. Right now, basically, it's not a great option to pit, because you will find every single driver in a following train. So I would say the important thing right now is just to try to go long. It doesn't matter if you pressure the driver in front or not, because whoever pits will land on a big train of traffic right now, because yeah, this is how it goes. Although most of the traffic is on soft tires, so from one lap to another, maybe you try to go long, and then you need to do the call very, very, very fast to just bring your own drivers to the pit lane. And I think it's interesting how it's panning out right now. But it looks like, yeah, Luke Mitchell has an edge, because Machete is very close to lose the DRS right now.
Yeah, I think Ruben Machete just isn't quite able to translate that qualifying pace into race pace. Of course, Luke Mitchell, his last race win in GPV was in that championship winning season in FS2 of 2023, winning the first race in Abu Dhabi. And last year he was in Formula Sprint 1 with Lunark and finished 16th in the championship, took 1 podium, and he's now jumped into the King's Racing car here. He's currently sitting very pretty up the top of the pack. But of course, he's driven in Super League before, got points before in Super League. We know that he is no slouch. Meanwhile, the True North guys may be attacking each other. Mirko Licini potentially attacking Robin Merling. They swapped places earlier on. Licini had a pretty strong outing last time. Oh, and there's some chaos down at turn 1. There's Harry Smith takes a very interesting line, it looks like, as well as David Krupa through turn number 1 and 2, as Maxime Bulio got sideways in the meanwhile. Just behind them is Daniel Scott in the other Rookie Monsters car. So a bit of a 4-car scuffle here going on. Oh, look how close Daniel Scott was to the back of Remco de Jeu there in the Fusion Racing car. That was mightily, mightily close between those guys as they push onwards. It looks like one of the drivers that we lost early doors was Maxime Bulio. I think we lost 2 drivers. It was Maxime Bulio and Jose Soriano were the 2 drivers that we lost on the formation lap due to some sort of connection issue. So a real shame for them. Oh no, Maxime Bulio's P5. What am I talking about? I'm just looking in the complete wrong place. I take back everything I have just said. Maxime Bulio's doing a fantastic job. Meanwhile, as is Remco de Jeu. Apologies there, Maxime. So I'll figure out who the other driver that we lost was then on that opening lap. We've had 2 actual DNFs so far in Alexander Ragozza and Mika Hakimi. And suddenly, Carlos, Ruben Machete a lot closer to the back of Luke Mitchell.
Yeah, he's going on for the attack and he goes through the outside, but he's using a lot of push to pass now, opens the DRS and makes it through in turn 1 even before Luke can do anything. This is the moment where the pit window starts to open, so maybe we can see where some drivers are starting to struggle with the tires, and we can see some others that maybe they were just saving tires and they have now the chance to actually pull the trigger and create a gap right now. Because even though this is a track where there are lots of DRS zones and everything, the dirt here is pretty strong. So if you really have the pace, you can leave everyone behind. But the key moment is does Ruben have enough pace to actually break this toe that Luke Mitchell has right now? Because it looks like he doesn't. So I'm not sure if everything is a bit tactical. You don't want to really lead the race at right now, and you just want some others to actually lead. So it's really difficult right now to put ourselves who is the fastest and who's not, because we can see Luke Mitchell, he's already in striking range. We can see Norbert Jakob also in striking range from Luke Mitchell, and it's going to be extremely interesting to see who is going to do the move, because look at the gaps. It's just insane how close they are into each other. And we don't know who's going to be P1 through turn 1. So we will see now Norbert Jakob and Luke Mitchell both going for the attack. One going through the middle, one going through the outside. Luke Mitchell tries to close the door down. We can see now takes the inside for turn 2. Will try to make it stick, but I don't think he will manage to. And therefore, Ruben Meshede keeps the position number 1. What is super important from all this is the push to pass. Let's remember, we have push to pass available in Superlights. Therefore, they have a certain amount of time they can use through the whole race. And if you start using now for attacking and defending, attacking and defending, attacking and defending, whenever the moment of the pit stop comes, you will have nothing available. Or at the end of the race, you will have nothing available. And you need to be very smart. And Jan Dragoon is just expectating here and say, okay, guys, use all your push to pass, attack each other, it's all cool with me, try to break the DRS toe, etc. I don't care, I just mind my own business, I mind my own push to pass, and that's everything I want.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, we almost see him going into the wall.
Man, oh man, quick hands there from Jan Dragoon. Yeah, great save, great reactions there from the Czech driver. You're absolutely right though, Carlos. The push to pass is going to be vital here, especially a track where there's so much of the circuit that's just flat out on throttle. Of course, you don't want to run out at the same time. You don't want to be not using any either. Yellow flag briefly out in sector 2, lap 12, 30 laps remaining in this race. And we'll be starting to close in on the pit window as we've got kind of two trains forming up the front. We've got Machete and Mitchell who are close together, and then the True North guys holding off Buello and Herlock. It was in fact Federico Russo, not Maxime Buello, as I mistakenly just made up earlier, who we lost on the formation lap. Thank you, Jeffrey Fournier, for pointing that one out for me. And again, apologies to Maxime for just completely missing the fact that you were in 5th place. Let's go back to the action though. Yeah, great hands from Jan Dragoon. We saw the True North guys pulling off some fantastic teamwork last time out at Suzuka in order to hold on to a podium position, and it was absolutely monumental what they were able to do. Norbert Jakob ultimately taking the podium with Jan Dragoon just acting as a rear gunner. They went for a long second stint and then sat there just holding off Harry Smith and Yassi Latinen right at the end of the race. Joseph Herlock was also involved in that scrap. They did a fantastic job. So we know those two guys can work together really, really well as a team to secure positions. This is where they were running last time at the end of the race, in fact. So it could be interesting to see if we once again see Dragoon acting as that rear gunner to keep the likes of Buello and Herlock behind. Robin Merling also not too far back. He could be starting to close in on them if they continue to fight. There is Robin Merling, speaking of, doing a good job at the moment. Currently P7 in a little bit of no man's land. We'll have to see if he can catch up to the train in front. He can see them, so maybe that's a bit of extra motivation. Is Ruben Machete fastest lap of the race now as Luke Mitchell comes into the pits. The first of our race leaders to come in. He puts on the mediums, the C3 compounded.
Yeah, that's a two-stopper.
Yeah, that's definitely a two-stopper. So that's interesting that Mitchell, first to come in and is on the two-stopper, Satherley as well looks to be going the same way. So what do we reckon, Carlos? Is that medium to the end of the race, or maybe medium soft?
No, it's medium soft. It's 100% medium soft, and the soft lasts pretty well. You just need to do 15 laps on the medium, or you can even do 14. So we see a yellow in sector 1. Let's hope nothing really big happened. And I'm very happy for Maxime. Maxime being in P4, contesting for the podium and maybe for the race win, it's huge. I'm extremely happy for him. This is an outstanding performance from him. And it looks great. It looks great for them. It's amazing. I'm very happy for him. He's demonstrating all what he has. Although, must be mentioned as well, Machete actually pulled a big gap right now. He did fastest lap of the race last lap, but I think he's just trying to break this DRS toe, just using a lot of push to pass, and that's okay. That's okay. We will see how it pans out at the end of the race, as we see some other drivers pitting. I think it was Norbert Jakob. Yeah, Norbert Jakob heading into the pits. It will be interesting because from this range is also doable, the hard tire from here. So let's see what strategy does True North decide to do today. They go for the medium, and so they really look like they're going for the two-stop. It looked a bit slow, the stop. So we see Norbert Jakob going out of the pits right now. Maybe into a bit. That exit. Oh, as we saw, very close with the Lunark, which will of Mike Quinn right now, who started very far back of the grid. And this is terrible for him. This is terrible for Norbert Jakob, because right now, Luke Mitchell will be able to create a big gap where he should be just right behind him. Right now he will create a huge gap. So that's great for Luke and not the greatest for Norbert Jakob.
Yeah, whoever made that decision to come in, be it the team or Jakob himself, I think potentially the wrong call, because it brought him out into traffic, and we can see the advantage that Luke Mitchell has gained as well. It may have been more beneficial to stay out for a few laps longer. I wonder if that's maybe what Jan Dragoon's going to do. I wonder if True North are going to split the strategies, seeing what's happened there as well, and keep Jan Dragoon out a little bit longer, and maybe try and go for the one-stop. We're waiting to see. Yellow flags out in Sector 3. Hopefully everyone is okay. Oh, David Krupa, that's a huge hit into the wall. He is out of this race. What has happened to the PZZW car? Missing the entire rear end of his machine. Machete goes around once again. True North don't split the strategies. Jan Dragoon comes into it. That'll be for another set of the medium tyres, the C3s. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes out around his teammate, or if Jakob's made up any time. He has now made his way through Mike Quinn and into P12. So Dragoon makes his way out. True North with the last grid slots, it would appear. Or the last pit boxes, I should say, and he does come out in front of his teammates. Oh dear, oh dear. True North have made a little bit of a mess of that one, and I don't think Norbert Jakob is going to be too happy underneath the helmet. Let's see what happened to David Krupa, the Polish driver. He's coming into that awkward medium speed chicane into the final sector. Oh, lost the rear on the entry. Very interesting there. And then just tried to save it, the car bit, and then couldn't get it slowed down in time. That's a big impact with the wall. That'll be a lot of damage. And out of the race. A real shame for him. Ruben Machete still leads, though. The German commands this race up the front. Maxime Biulio in P2. And of course, Maxime was running net P5 before the pit stops. That would be their best Superlights finish ever. His last best, or his current best finish was P6 in Brazil at the back end of last year. And, well, he's never actually won a race in GPV either. He's only ever finished on the podium. He got a couple of second and third places for Optiminal Esports in FS2 in 2023. So that would be magical if Maxime could get a podium, maybe even a race win. But facing huge pressure from Joseph Herlock. Up the inside he goes, and the Englishman makes it an Optiminal 1-2 as it stands on lap number 16. And the Optiminal guys, on that note, as Herlock goes past the driver that used to drive for them, a few years ago, they seem very, very happy to push on and run longer in this opening stint. So some strategy games being played here at Jeddah. Your current standings on lap 16, Machete, Herlock, Bueller, your top three. Robin Merling, Harry Smith, Demko Dejoux, Daniel Scott, Luke Mitchell, Jan Dragoon, and Norbert Jacob. The likes of Mitchell, Dragoon, Jacob, they are the guys who have boxed from near the front of the pack, so it'll be interesting to see when the other drivers come on in. There's a yellow flag out in sector 1 there. Hopefully everything is okay. I believe Mirko Lucchini may have been caught up in an incident a little bit earlier on. He's dropped right down the order into P18, so hopefully everything's fine with him. Do you think the one stop is feasible here, Carlos? Do you think it's maybe... Yeah. It is feasible, okay. Is it the best strategy though, or is the two stop better?
Well, it's very close between one another. I think it just depends on how well you manage the traffic. You need to recover quite some time to actually make it work. It's about 20 seconds what you lose. And to recover 20 seconds in 25 laps is not an easy task. Surely, Joseph, I mean, I think it's very clear now. Machete, Harlock, and Bulio, they are going for the one stop, and surely Merling is going for the one stop as well. Yeah, they're gonna go. If they keep going this long, they might even make it with the mediums. If they consider using them, I'm not entirely sure how longer they can keep going. But they seem to go super long on this, and if they keep doing 2 or 3 laps, then maybe they can even consider doing the mediums right now. Normally, the one stop is more likely considered with the hards in this scenario, but as it looks like they are just going for this right now. They are doing an amazing job. They keep also. Good pace compared to the rest of the field. Yeah, Maxime now is starting to fade off and everything, but Joseph is only 1 second slower compared to fresher medium, so it's nothing crazy the amount of time they are losing. So whenever they pit, they will set the hards or the mediums. If they set the mediums, they will, as we see Luke Mitchell going for some moves. This is the issue when you go for a two-stop. You need to actually pull moves, used to push to pass to actually gain positions instead of for pure pace. And yeah, now Remco needs to, you know, play the teammate role to try to defend like a lion, and we see Joseph Harlock going for the hats, which is the obvious choice given at the point of the race that we are. As we see also Remco just deciding to pit. I think he said, okay, Maxime's got this, we don't need much more. But yeah, we can see here Machete is Maxime was in the DRS from Machete not so many laps ago, and right now he's 6 seconds off. Here you can see when a driver is able to maintain their tires alive and when they are not. And here Machete is doing super job, amazing. He's solved the issues that he had at Suzuki's. We see a yellow in sector 1, and it looks super good for them. As we see Matias Canapino, the other PCCW driver, which apparently has some issues. PCCW today not having the ooh, he's still losing it, and I think that's race over. Yeah, that's race over for Matias Canapino and for both of the PCCW racing team drivers.
Double DNF for the squad. What happened there? Because I think he'd met the wall earlier when the camera cut to him. He was going slowly and then it just lost it in the middle of the corner. So I wonder if he'd met the wall earlier and got some big damage. Race leader comes in. The German driver, Ruben Machete, comes in for a set of the hards. Does Bulio follow him in? Maxime Bulio will stay out and take the race lead. Oh no, comes in, and it's a set of the mediums for Machete. Yeah. So can Machete make those go to the end of the race? Let's see what Bulio can get on board. So comes in now, the Canadian takes on a set of the mediums as well. So do you reckon they think they can take those mediums to the end of the race, Carlos? Yeah, we saw Joseph Herlock coming in just a few laps ago, and he's on the hards. So maybe some difference on tyre wear between the two Optiminal cars.
Yeah, from this point you've done 18 laps with the softs, and if you did 18 laps with the softs, you can definitely do 23 laps with the medium. And as you can see, Machete, even he is just right behind Jakob, Dragoon, and Mitchell, which are already pitted a long time ago. Just for a brief moment, let's try to imagine he goes for a two-stopper right now, which I don't think he will, but or Mitchell and Dragoon and Jakob, they go for a one-stop. They go these mediums till the end. The tire gap that Machete is so insane, so big, that he's gonna eat them alive. It doesn't matter that True North, they do their DRS job that they did in that Suzuka took over from Harry Smith. It doesn't matter because the tire difference is so big that it will not matter. He will probably be 6 or 7 tenths faster than them, and that is very difficult to defend, especially in a track like this one, that you can actually go for the attacks. As we see Jan Dragoon now going to attack Luke Mitchell. They acknowledge them. Probably this is not our fight. Our fight is to get the last spots of the podium, and he will try to do the move now on Luke Mitchell. Luke Mitchell not defending the inside and going for it. Jan Dragoon takes provisional lead right now from the race.
There we are then, Jan Dragoon into the race lead. What can the Czech driver do? Of course, he has already won a race in Superlights before, took victory at the final round last year after a year of improvement. This year has got off the ground well and has been up the front of the pack. Already got a podium in Turkey, a DNF in Australia, and then 4th place last time out in Japan. So we know that he can certainly drive fast. Can he control the race from the front? Oh, he needs to try and break away because Machete, Herlock, Bulio, they are all on a one-stopper. And he, Mitchell, and Jakob, his teammate, they're on two-stoppers. So they need to make up some time and make it up quickly. Because right now, as it stands, it looks like the one-stop is the strategy to be on. Because for Machete, Herlock, and Bulio, it's worked out wonderfully. They are sat in fantastic places at the moment, and they will be uncatchable if these guys come in anytime soon. So we'll wait and see what the strategy is going to unfold into. But Dragoon leads from Luke Mitchell, from Norbert Jakob. That is your top 3 on lap 20 of 41, not quite halfway through this race at the moment. We've had 4 DNFs so far. Alexander Ragota, Mika Hakimi. We've lost Canapino. We've also lost David Krupa, both PZZW cars. And we did also lose, unfortunately, a few drivers on the formation lap as a result of some sort of server issue. You know, that's a real shame, but in my eyes, you've just got to look at that and see that as a reliability problem. That's how I always look at things like disconnects and all of that. You know, you get it in real-world motorsport where sometimes your car just stops working. In sim racing, that's my view. Some people will disagree with me, but you know what? I'm commentating and you're not, so be quiet. Jan Dragoon leads then from Luke Mitchell and Jakob, getting very close to the wall there in the background. These guys are pushing very, very hard. Carlos, I think they've realised that there's a yellow flag in Sector 2. I think they've realised that they really have to push onwards now to try and get the gap as big as they can between themselves and the one-stoppers.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Oh, as we see some action here, we can see Cas Ritvel having contact with Daniel Scott here in turn 4 and 5. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but they are fighting for the last positions, which awards points here in Jeddah. So we see another yellow in Sector 2. Everything is starting to get messy here. There is a lot of action going on in this current last scoring points positions. But yeah, it's very interesting because Machete doesn't seem to be driving the tires at all. He is almost lapping as fast as he was doing with all softs. As we see, Luke Mitchell very, very, very close right now, and he will just pull the move. I'm not entirely sure if this... as we see, Jan Dragoon actually applying a bit of push to pass, but I think he will just make the move anyway, and he goes for the inside and takes the lead once again from Jan Dragoon. It's fairly interesting, I would say, that they actually overtake each other every lap and so on. I'm not entirely sure if this is the fastest way to actually manage this. I'm not sure if it's better to have one guy just lead the pack and then just fight it at the end. or this they do like cycling, you know, when this cycling competitions by teams that they start all together and there is one of them that is dragging at the front, and then when it starts just drops back, goes into the last position and takes the slipstream from all of them. I'm not entirely sure which procedure is the best to actually protect yourself from Machete. Machete doesn't seem to care that much about the drivers he has in front. Probably he's extremely protecting and extremely caring about his tires, because he acknowledges that maybe the drivers in front of him, they don't go till the end. Most of them have done between 9 and 10 laps already with these medium tires. Norbert Jakob has done 8 laps already. Jan Dragoon has done 7 laps already, and Luke Mitchell has done 9 laps already. So they have way more worn tires, as we see. Maybe Norbert Jakob may be going for the move, but as I mentioned, you don't want to lose time right now. Your target is to be as fast as you can and try to contest Machete at the end of the race. And we see Hurler, he just catched up on Machete, probably pushing a bit more those hard tires that he really knows he's going till the end. I'm curious, I don't think it was a mistake from Machete to actually select the medium, and maybe he's thinking, oh, maybe I need to nurse them a bit more, but I don't think so. I think it was pretty intentional, and he wants the higher end, but so far it's not going the fastest at the moment.
Absolutely. We've lost a couple of other drivers in the meanwhile. Unfortunately, we saw some yellow flags pinging up a few moments ago. We have unfortunately lost Remco de Joux and also Scott Mitchell and also just now Jan Sikora as well. So 3 DNFs back to back. I saw Sikora coming into the pit lane, so I wonder if he's pulled in and retired on his own admission. So I wonder if there was an accident, but I believe Mitchell Marm and de Joux both made contact with the wall. Hopefully we can get a replay or something like that sometime soon. Interesting to see that Herlock is catching. Again, maybe pushing those hard tyres a bit harder. I wonder if he's maybe on the radio with Optimal saying, come on, maybe I can push a bit harder. Let me in front of Joseph. Let's try and push and catch these guys in front. But also, Mitchell, Dragoon, Jakob, they've all got to box again. These guys don't, and they've got some phenomenal pace on board right now on the Optimal cars. Maybe they're just happy just sitting where they are, because they are so close to the back of the leaders who are all fighting with each other, and it's costing them time. Mitchell still leads from the True North cars, but you know, it's really shaping up a race that is going to head the way of the Optimal drivers right now. The one stop has worked wonders for them at this phase of the race. Of course, that may all change come the last 5-10 laps. The tyres may fall off, they may lose the pace. The 2-stop could just come out trumps. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. Luke Mitchell runs very, very wide there and somehow stays ahead. But yeah, I think just a bit of understeer there, going straight off the circuit. Maybe these guys.
It was oversteer. It was oversteer.
Okay.
The rear snapped. The rear snapped there just before, in between the sections, when these cars are really. You need to drive them very stiff in both ends of the car, and when you're doing these corners that you need to swap directions very fast, the rear gets loaded and unloaded very fast, and then you tend to lose it. And I think now I understand the setup from Kim's by just watching that they have a really stiff car on the rear just to make those things. And the issue is that it just makes your rear tires to go off a bit sooner, especially in the high speed. As we see now, Jan Dragoon will have the opportunity to actually overtake Luke Mitchell. And maybe Luke Mitchell is using a bit of push to pass here to keep the position, or maybe just Jan Dragoon deciding, okay, maybe this is the best, just stay ahead, we don't molest each other, we keep the Optimal behind, and we keep going. Because, let's imagine, can we think out of the box? Optimal did 19 laps with the softs, right? So, presumably they could do how many laps? 26, 27 with the mediums. What if True North and Kings are able to do the same? What if? And what if in the lap they pitted they can actually try to go till the end? And because they acknowledge that maybe the 2-stop is not good enough to actually to actually, you know, get the better result, and they say, oh, we just gamble it and we swap it to one stop. You try to pull the impression of Lewis Hamilton at Monaco that the tires will just not last, will not last. My mind says it will not last, but what if they do?
Well, we'll have to wait and see what is going to happen. We've lost another driver. They're dropping like flies at the moment. Phil Hauksvig now out of the race for Drake Racing as well. He's standing in for Philip Pushka this evening. A real shame there, and that is, well, I think we're down to 20 cars still running now. One of which, of course, David Feidock, after that accident earlier on, still running well down the order and a couple of laps down, I believe. Jan Dragoon, meanwhile, back to the lead of the race, gets through Luke Mitchell, and maybe is Norbert Jakob going to try and follow him through. But right now, the fight for the race lead has very much been between these two. Jakob seems very happy just sitting where he is. The Hungarian driver hasn't really been pushing too hard compared to these other two. Maybe just trying to watch his tyres at this phase of the race. We'll have to wait and see. But Dragoon potentially trying to check out. He's already built up some gap over Luke Mitchell. So potentially applying that push to pass, really getting on. Maybe he wants to draw a gap out. He knows they've got a box in again. And look how close he is getting to the wall as well. He is well and truly aware of what the situation is in terms of strategy. He is trying to go make up as much time as he can now after losing it, fighting with the King's racing car behind him. It's now 7.5 tenths of a second separating the pair of them. But of course, Mitchell will have the DRS, will have the push to pass that he can use on his side as well. But Dragoon, of course, now has clear track. He doesn't have to worry about dirty air. He can just push onwards. Lap 26, soon to be lap 27 out of 41. And we wait patiently to see when these podium cars, when these front three will come into the pit lane for their second stop. Well, they're behind the likes of Machete, Herlock, Bulio. They do not need to stop. They are on a one-stop. They can go to the end of this race, and they're sitting very, very comfortably at the moment. The Optimal cars very close together. Bulio in a bit of no man's land, dropped away from the two in front, but got a 3-second buffer to race one winner Tom Satherley behind in the Bren GP car. So it is all to play for here. It's now down to a question of strategy. And well, can the Hungarian Norbert Jakob slide through Luke Mitchell as well? Carlos, from a team perspective, obviously you want to be running 1 and 2 in a battle like this, because not only does it give you points and all that, but it means the team can work together like we saw from True North last time at Suzuka, and you can have someone acting as a rear gunner and just on the defensive.
Well, I think it's too soon maybe to actually think about that. There is so many laps to go. There is still we just completed 26 laps, so I think it's too soon to think about that. Because as I was mentioning, it's very likely that True North is pitting again before the end of the race and setting a soft tire before the end of it. But it's tough to say. It's tough to say it right now. They have good pace, and I think it's more important to have those positions once you do your last stop, as we see Luke Mitchell being super close again to Jan Dragoon. Maybe doesn't attempt his 6/10 gap, maybe not close enough to actually try it. But I think the moment will come a bit later on, as we see Satherley battling with Ruben Möhling right now. They're just fighting each other in the last corner, as Ruben Möhling goes again for the move. Firstly Tom Satherley attacked, and then Ruben Möhling defended from it like Hamilton did during the actual F1 race. So Tom Satherley will need to attack again the German driver from Rookie Monsters to actually acquire the position. As I was saying, the track position is important to have both cars ahead of Luke Mitchell, but I don't think right now is the important moment to have them.
Well, we'll wait and see how it's going to unfold over the second half of this race. Right now, though, it is Jan Dragoon that leads, and that gap nearly up to a second now. So he is feeling pretty comfortable. We've lost a whole host of drivers, 8 cars, not including the 2 that did not start following a connection issue. We lost Phil Houtsik, Remco de Jeu, Jan Sikora, Scott Mitchell, Augustin Canapino, and, well, another couple of drivers. They'll crop up on the timing screen in a short moment. There we go, David Krupa, Mika Hakimi, and Alexander Ragotza as well. If you've just joined us, it has been a humdinger of a race so far. Got a replay here. This is what happened to Remco de Jeu, DRS open. This is coming down towards the final corner. There's a car going slowly on the inside, excuse me, not the final corner.
Yep,
oh,
the rear.
Yeah, lost the rear, very similar to what we saw happen to David Krupa at the same part of the racetrack. Lost the rear heading into the chicane before you get to the last, not quite a straight. Luke Mitchell comes in, as does Norbert Jakob. Okay, second and third place into the box. Tom Satherley also comes in, and it will be Mitchell that leads Jakob out of the pit lane. That is what we expected. Another set of the mediums for the Kings Racing driver. I believe it's a set of the softs for Jakob, so Jakob believes he can go the distance on that set of softs. That is going to be an immediate pace advantage, but Carlos, 12 laps, that should be okay to do. So why is Luke Mitchell gone for the mediums there?
Well, I think it's yet to update, but very likely. I don't think Luke went for the medium, but if he did, I think the reasoning would be like, okay, Norbert overtakes me, then he sets the pace, I just get dragged by the DRS, and at the end, the last laps, I will have the edge over him. So that's also a possibility for it, but we will see as laps keep going on, as we see a yellow in sector 1, a yellow in sector 2 right now. Some actions. Oh, Daniel Scott is out of the race.
What a shame for Daniel Scott. We'll try and see what happens in a moment. Jan Dragoon comes in. I can confirm it is an R-Factor 2 certified moment. Luke Mitchell is on the soft tyres, although it showed as the mediums. That will update in due course, so it should be a set of the softs as well for Jan Dragoon. We will, of course, see if the sidewall colour changes. But again, sometimes you do get it in R-Factor 2, where it doesn't for about half a lap, but he does change onto the soft. And I tell you what, Luke Mitchell is going to blow on by Jan Dragoon. That goes to show how good the new tyres are. Norbert Jakob muscles his way past as they bang wheels, but they're still side by side. Someone of the lap cars getting well out of the way there. Jakob to the inside, goes off the racetrack, comes back on. Goodness gracious me. Luke Mitchell had to properly get onto the brakes there to avoid an accident. He won't be too happy with that one. He'll say that it was off the track there for Luke Mitchell, but maybe not quite. We'll have to wait and see. More lap traffic getting out of the way. This is on board with Jan Dragoon now. His tyres, of course, a lap fresher, but he's lost that track position. So
he gives it back. He gives it back.
He does let him through. Okay, great sportsmanship there from Norbert Jakob. Gets out of the way and lets Luke Mitchell back through. He knew he was in the wrong. He knew he was going to have to give that place back, and he has done so in an according manner. So Luke Mitchell now up to P6. That was very sportsmanlike of Norbert Jakob there, but that also means he's going to get the DRS and he can just try and attack again. So maybe using some mind games, using some strategy here, Carlos.
No, I think it was very clear. It was completely off the track, the overtake, and the rejoin was fairly questionable. So it was a great chance he could take a penalty. But I don't think this is smart from either of them. They are racing against the clock. They are racing against Optiminal. They are racing against Maxime. And fighting is the last thing they want. So they are losing time by doing this. As now Norbert Jakob goes through into turn 1, although Luke Mitchell tries to not make it easy, trying to brake super late. I understand the point from Truno that, okay, let's take the chance now that we need to run to maybe try to be ahead of Luke Mitchell. But to be honest, like, if you're thinking big, you're losing the biggest picture here. As we see Magnusson doing the fastest lap, 32.9. Just for reference, Magnusson did 32.9, and yeah, they were doing 34.7 with new tires. They were doing 34.7, as we see, like Daniel Scott just crashed at the end of sector 1, and that damage was too big to actually keep going, and decided to pull on the side and retire the car. But yeah, definitely they lost almost 2 seconds that fighting, and I don't think it's smart to, because these 2 seconds you will actually miss it later on.
Yeah, I mean, they need to be making about, 2 seconds a lap realistically across the remainder of the race, or maybe about 1.5 on the leaders to catch them. And obviously they've then got to go through Robin Merling, Maxime Bulliot and Joseph Herlock if they want to be fighting for this race lead. The 2 Optiminal guys sitting very, very pretty at the front of the pack. They're separated by 5 seconds. Whether they'll be allowed to race or just bring it home in formation remains to be seen. Norbert Jacob, though, that last lap of 32.9, or 32.6 even, should I say, 32.9 for Luke Mitchell. That's the fastest lap of the race so far, and that is in the region of what they need to be running. Last lap for Machete, a 134.1. So ideally could be a little bit faster, but it's about where they want to be. But they need to be doing that consistently, lap after lap after lap. And if they're fighting, they're not going to achieve that. The 2-stopper, it was a gamble. Looking back at it, at the time it may have seemed like the right call, but with the Optiminal guys and Maxime Bulliot coming in with a perfectly executed 1-stop and just sitting very pretty in the podium places, these guys really need to get a shift on. They need to put their foot down and just go. Forget about fighting. You're fighting for 5th, 6th, 7th. If you all work together and push forward, you could be fighting for podiums, fighting for the race win. So that's what they really need to do. Whether they will do that remains to be seen on lap 32 of 41. And it looks like Norbert Jacob is really pushing hard and actually goes off the racing surface as well. Way too hard into that chicane. That is surely going to allow Jan Dragoon up the outside. Maybe not, though, as we see. To be fair, Jacob did get the DRS and using push to pass as well to stay ahead of his teammate. Gets a big wobble, though, into the final corner. They're pushing very, very hard, perhaps too hard. Let's have a look at the lap times as they come across the line now. 1:34.7 for the race leader. Let's see what Luke Mitchell does. He crosses the line now, 1:33.2. So again, they're in the right ballpark, but is it enough? I don't know, Carlos.
No, I don't think it's enough. There are so little laps to keep going. Let's think that the soft will fade. It's not like the gap will be consistently like this. And there is another factor that they're using the push to pass to fight each other, whereas Ruben and Joseph, they can just push to pass to get increased pace, and that is super important. And I don't think they contest for the race at all. I think they contest as much for the last podium slot.
We'll have to wait and see where they can get to, but it's all up in the air at the moment. And again, those tyres are going to start to fall away towards the end of the race if they're pushing that hard. Yeah, definitely. It could be very interesting. And interesting that Norbert Jacob, very desperate, it seems, to stay ahead of Jan Dragoon. They were fighting earlier on in the race and it was fine, and suddenly Norbert Jacob, we saw a similar thing. I don't know if it's team orders, they've been told to hold station and just push onwards, or if it's, Norbert, just take control here. Because Dragoon, I think, could pass him, but he's just not at the moment. So he stays in P7 as they go on to lap 34. Let's have a look at the times once again. Ruben Machete at 33.9 on that last lap. Luke Mitchell at 32.9, so only a second faster on that occasion. That is not enough. The gap is down to 13 and a bit seconds from 16 a few laps ago, but it's really looking like it's not enough. The 2-stopper may be fatally flawed late in the race. We'll have to wait and see. 19 cars still making their way around here at Jeddah. 4 of them a lap down. Of course, one of those, David Feidock, amazed he's only a lap down. He was in the pits for quite some time after that accident near the start of the race. A real shame for him on his return to GPVWC Superlights. Cas Rietveld now fastest lap of the race at 32.539. So they're starting to get a move on those going on to the soft tyres. That is a new lap record around here, by the way. The previous lap record was a 33.7 set by Masic Heiler. So, we're breaking lap records here in Superlights this season, but these guys are the ones that want to be breaking it even further, and they're just not. So right now, it's looking like it's going to be Optiminal against Optiminal for the race win, Carlos.
I think Optimino will just play it smart. They know what their target is in the Constructors Championship, and Mercedes is ahead in the Drivers Championship, and with this race win, he will just bump into a 8-point gap from Jose Soriano, who, today who couldn't even score points. So that's a great result from them. But right now Jan Dragoon is just playing the smart game. It is, as they notice, it's stupid they fight each other right now. They need to fight it at the end of the race, and they will probably, as we see Victor Borley just in front of this group of drivers, so he just should get out of the way ASAP. You cannot interfere into this. You need to get out of the way ASAP. If you need to just stay off track or anything, just do it, because this is how you interfere in the race. And now Norbert Jakob has a look into the outside, and he will just make it stick very likely. They are fighting side by side now, and this is very dangerous because the next corner is very controversial, and at the end Norbert Jakob will actually make the position, but now Luke Mitchell will have another chance to go at it. This is why the lap cars, they need to get out of the way. Now Luke Mitchell will try to get it through the outside, and they just sneaks back into his diffuser, but he will have the chance once again for the main straight. And maybe now is the time that Jan Dragoon, once Norbert Jakob pulls the move, he does it as well. Oh, as he goes for the inside for the late switchback. But I don't think it will be the greatest, although he will have DRS from the car in front. The slipstream that Luke Mitchell will get will be super strong. This is the moment for True North. They're sandwiching Luke Mitchell. They're just squeezing him. They're 3 wide into turn 1. They contact all 3 of them, and they actually make it through. Both True North overtake Luke Mitchell here. He will try to get a sneaky look, but I don't think it will be possible in this part of the track.
Unreal racing, unreal bravery from the True North cars. Jakob and Mitchell were side by side for an entire lap, and then all 3 coming together, and somehow the Canadian cars slide on by the King's Racing machine, and just in front of them, we're on board with them now. Robin Merling in P4 for Rookie Monsters. This is 4th position. He may try and fight them. He's on a 1-stopper. Or does he let them through? His tyres, they look shot. Look at that left rear. That is looking pretty unhealthy. So he may try and fight them. He may just not put up a fight and let them slide on through. It's lap 36 of 41. Of course, this is a 4th place. Oh, goodness me. Norbert Jakob very close to the back of Merling's Rookie Monsters. There's still 11.5 seconds behind the leader. This could very much be a race to try and get onto the podium. Maxime Bulio is about 4 seconds, 3 seconds ahead of this gaggle of cars. Jakob has to go defensive. Dragoon to the outside. All team orders out the window. It's every driver for themselves out here. It's the Hunger Games in Jeddah as they fly on by. Merlin gets out of the way. 3 wide, 4 wide, nearly down into turn number 1. Who's going to get away first? Dragoon gets sideways. Across the corner goes Jakob. Somehow the True North cars stay in front of Luke Mitchell. Goodness me, we have got some fireworks here in the desert. Who is going to stay on top in this one? Do they try and chase now for the podium places, or do they keep fighting? There's only a handful of laps left. This could all just be for personal glory. The 2 True North cars doing a spectacular job and putting on some theatrics. And now, Carlos, it could be a little bit elbows out till the end of the race.
Yeah, Luke is slightly rear-ended one of the True North. I can't recall which one was, but True North is playing this very well because they are just boxing him, like whatever direction Luke goes, they are just boxing him, so he doesn't have the chance to actually not even have a look. So if he goes to the outside, one of the other cars will just, the car he's actually overtaking, leave him the outside, and then the other car will stay in the outside, so he cannot outbrake through the outside. It will do the same for the inside. If he goes for the inside, the car who is he overtaking will let him the inside, and then the car in front will take the inside, so he can just box him and he never have the chance to actually pull the move. I think right now what it matters, the only way to actually overtake them is by a full push to pass move. And as he will go again, oh, and here they slept. Here they slept, although he's still on the inside for turn 2. They will go side by side through turn 3. Here will matter who has more push to pass to actually keep the position. It looks like Jan Dragoon has the push to pass available to actually keep the position. I think Norbert might be run out of P2P. He might be out of P2P because he didn't push it. And if you have any, as we see Luke Mitchell going wide again, if you have any, you need to use it, because otherwise you will get your teammate in danger, because your teammate doesn't want to attack you, obviously. And if Jan Dragoon has push to pass, the issue is, he cannot use it, otherwise he will just attack his own teammate. And this is a tough situation. Whatever you have, you need to use everything now. They are 2.7 seconds off from Maxim. I think at the current pace, if they don't fight for 2 laps, they will get him, as we see Harry Smith taking the fastest lap of the race in P14 right now. But yeah, if you want to really take the last podium step, you actually need to do this, although he's almost out of the DRS range right now. He might be out of the DRS range. Maybe this was a coordinated push from the True North drivers to actually let Mitchell off from the DRS.
Wow, this is getting crazy. Lap 39 of 41, only a handful to go. Maxime Beaulieu awaits up ahead on the racetrack, 2.5 seconds, and the True North guys trying to book it away from Luke Mitchell after getting feisty and aggressive with the King's Racing driver. And they seem to be going okay at the moment. If your cab is out of push to pass, it's surely team orders time. Swap around, let Jan go for it, because he still has a little bit of that electronic energy that he can push through, that extra power that will enable him to move on forward. And they've got some lap traffic in front as well that will give them DRS, so they very well may catch Maxime Beaulieu, and they are catching him at some rate of knots now. There is Maxime Beaulieu. Lap car separates them from the True North drivers. Goodness gracious me, this is getting very, very close at the end of the race in the fight for the final podium position. Can Beaulieu hold on? Will it be a cab? Will it be Dragoon? Can Luke Mitchell pull something out of the top drawer at the death to slide on by and pick up a trophy at the end of the race? We'll have to wait and see. They're coming down now through the final sector, and coming into the last corner, they'll be heading on to lap number 40 shortly. Blue flags were out there, and they've all gone a little bit deep following the lap traffic in, but now nothing separating them from Maxime Beaulieu. 2 laps left to go, and Beaulieu is well within striking distance. What can the Canadian do to hold on to that race, that P3, that podium position? Or is it all for naught? Are the True North guys going to slide on by Carlos Martin? It's looking like it's a bit of an uphill battle on the one-stopping Fusion Racing car.
Yeah, maybe the best option was to select the harder compound. Maybe we don't know yet, because Herlock has had such an amazing pace through the whole race, even caught up on Mercedes. So maybe the best choice was the harder compound. Even they could made it with the medium tire. And I think now you need to use everything you have, every single second of push to pass and everything you have got. You need to use it. And if you can keep P3, fantastic. If you can keep P4, fantastic. This is either way an amazing result for Maxime Beaulieu, who's fighting until the last lap for the last podium slot for Fusion Racing. I think it will be very difficult to keep it, because as we can see, the True North driver Norbert Jakob is super close, and he might actually go for the move right now, as we see both True North actually going for the move right now. And is it the smartest? Is it the smartest? Because now he has the slipstream. Now he has the chance to actually go for the move as well, Maxime Beaulieu. As we see right now, going side by side, heading into turn 1. They will try to break everyone very, very, very late. And Maxime actually keeps P4 right now through the inside of turn 2. He will keep it now through turn 3 and 4. And he, keeps P4 right now. So this is not over. And maybe Trudeau did a tactical mistake. Well, now Jan Dragoon needs to get out of here. He needs to avoid giving any DRS to Maxime Bulio, so his teammate actually has the chance to actually finish in P4. This is crucial. Maxime, we know he doesn't have the speed right now in the cornering due to his tires being old. And important to mention, Optiminal will lock a P1, P2, the first 1-2 of the season. Amazing result from Optiminal. Is just yet to decide who is finishing in this P4 position right now. As we see also Luke Mitchell behind, that maybe he also has the opportunity. Surely Jan Dragoon will have the opportunity now in the last corner, but will also Luke Mitchell have the opportunity? As we see Optiminal will cross the finishing line in 1-2 in amazing fashion here in the Jeddah Chronicle circuit. P1, P2 for Optiminal. As we see Maxime Bulio will try to keep this P5, but it looks like he will not have enough tires left to actually make it. Regardless, amazing result by the Fusion driver. Closing the podium, Jan Dragoon, Norbert Jakob P4, and Luke Mitchell P5. Tom Satterley will likely cross the finishing line in P7, and Mike Quinn and Magnusson, they are actually fighting for the 8th place right now. They are side by side almost through the line, and Quinn takes it home in P8. Gas Riedel will finish the top 10 from Brem GP, and Lucchini, Merling, Van der Voort, Smith, Pishan will finish the point slots.
Just breathe, everyone, shall we? Let's all just catch our breaths. Goodness me, what an end to this race. Round number 4 of the 2025 GPVWC Superlights Championship. Ruva Machete, the German, for the first time is a Superlights winner. Optiminal, for the first time a Superlights winners, and what a way to do it, controlling the race at the front and bringing it home in 1-2 as Joseph Herlock kept formation across the line. Jan Dragoon able to get onto the podium for the second time this season as Maxime Bulio, a heartbreak for the Canadian, but does still match their best ever finish in Superlights. It was Ruva Machete who controlled this race from the front with teammate Joseph Herlock just behind in a 1-2 as Jan Dragoon slides into the podium places at the very death. Norbert Jakob was P4 with Luke Mitchell P5 and Maxime Bulio in P6. Tom Satterley was 7th with Mike Quint P8. Patrick Magnussen was 9th, and Cass Rietveld rounding out the top 10. Double top 10 there for Rem GP. Good to see for them. Mirko Lucchini was 11th with Robin Merling in P12. Tom van der Voort was 13th with Harry Smith 14th. Mathieu Pijkamp on TTF's 100th race, as of course we celebrate Superlights 100th race. He was P15. Kurt Rotjar, P16, standing in at Gallery 82 today. It was P17 and 18 for Alpha Sierra. Victor Borley standing in for Dominic Koroshavin, ahead of teammate Stephen Lexau. And David Feiduck, after that incident earlier on, finished 3 laps down by the looks of things. An unscheduled test session for the new Lunark driver, but that is P19 and the last of our finishers. And then it is Daniel Scott who finished P20. Let's have a look down at the end of the grid, shall we? Oh, we also lost them. Owen Kvill-Haugsvig, Remco de Joux, Jan Sikora, Scott Mitchell-Mar, Matthias Canapino, David Krupa, Mika Hakimi, and Alexander Ragotza. And of course, we also had 2 DNFs, unfortunately, in championship leader Jose Soriano, who was not driving one-handed today, as Carlos Martin was so looking forward to it, and Federico Russo as well. Soriano does still maintain that championship lead at the end of this one, after Philip Pushka missed today's race. Even if Pushka won, to be fair, Soriano would have had to have failed to finish, and he still would have had a 1-point advantage. But that does mean that Ruva Machete jumps ahead of Pushka now in the driver's standings and moves into P2. But Soriano still in the lead, but that gap has come down just a little bit. man, oh man, what a race we've just had. We've got a few drivers that we should interview for certain. A quick thank you to Carlos Martin. He's had to shoot away, unfortunately. You can see him running around on the Super League on Thursday. Let's then grab in our race winner, Reuven Machedi. For the first time, you have won a race in GPVWC Superlights, and you have won it in commanding style. That has got to feel pretty special.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Also, the final qualifying lap was the race deciding one, I would say, because I got pole, couldn't control the race from that. I don't know what happened to Fire. I think he would have been up there as well, but just with that we could manage the race. And yeah, we won 1-2. It's great. Also with Soriano having no points, I think. Yeah. I am basically now, I think, like 5-6 points behind him, so I'm completely back in the championship fight, and that's nice.
Just looking at it quickly, I think you're even closer than that. You're 8. No, you're not. You're a little bit further away. You're 8 points behind at the moment. Of course, 9 points for Jose. But yeah, still very much back in the championship fight. So a great result for you. Let's talk about that qualifying lap. What a lap that was, right at the death. 1.5 tenths quicker than everyone else. You just pulled that out of the bag.
Yeah, it was insane. I was struggling to that lap with quali. I was always like 3-4 tenths off my PB. And then also in qualifying the first 2 laps, I didn't get a lap in. And yeah, the lap was pretty good. I'm pretty happy. My second pole in a row. I don't think I have often the case that I 2 poles in a row. But yeah, was an amazing lap.
And finally, of course, let's talk about the team's performance optimal. First race victory for the team in Superlights as well as yourself. And a fantastic 1-2. You guys just controlled the race. Was it team orders just to hold formation at the end there? Because we didn't really see Joseph challenging you for the race win.
Well, me and Joseph decided to not to race each other. I gave him the option for some laps, but in the end I just said, yeah, just bring this home, this 1-2 is important points. But he will get his chances as well. Joseph is super quick and also a very good driver, and he will definitely get also his first win this year.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Reuven, congratulations. You are a GPVWC Superlights race winner and now go to second in the championship at the end of round 4. What an evening for you. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the interviews.
Oh, I'm sure we will. I was about to say, I'm sure we will. I managed to put myself out of the commentary box instead of driving you out there, Reuven. So let's try that again. Thank you very much once again, Reuven Machedi. Apologies there for that one. We've only got one other person waiting for an interview at the moment, and that was Norbert Jakab, who finished in 4th place. So let's drag him in to the commentary box and try not to drag myself out again. Norbert then. Wow, that got a bit hectic at the end for you.
Yeah, it was definitely. I'm sweating a lot, even now.
Well, yeah, that's one way to put it. Of course, the 2-stop put you, your teammate Jan, and yeah, he just put you guys in that huge battle with Luke Mitchell. Let's just talk about that, because it was looking like you were going to be finishing on the podium, then it was maybe you aren't going to catch them, and then obviously you caught the back of Maxime Bulio, and it all just went a bit chaotic. Was that the plan, to be fighting for the podium today, or did you think the 2-stop was the best strategy to be on?
Well, first of all, until like the first stop, I thought that the 2-stopper will be like the better strategy, but then I saw once again how others can handle tires so much better than at least I do. But yeah, I cannot actually find my words. I'm so tired. Also, I made a huge mistake in qualifying. I was really confident after winning the practice session that yeah, I might actually get pole position as well. And actually the time that I ran during the official practice would have been enough for pole position, so I'm a bit disappointed because of that. The race start went well. The first stint overall was not so interesting. We were just running in the usual train. then we tried our usual undercut strategy because it always worked out so far, and it went well. We were really fast on the mediums, I think. But yeah, Luke Mitchell made our life so much harder than we expected. That yeah, I think we could have worked together, the three of us, but of course it's not mandatory to like work together if you are not in our team. But yeah, we lost so much time. There were a couple of moves that I think were a bit unfair. I got some damages as well, and in like the last 15 laps I was fighting with my car so much. I had basically dark and light blue damages all over my car, so it was basically a fucking shit car. But still, I could still manage to fight for podium, which I actually at one point I think I was P3 in the end. Then we got to a situation where I told Jan to just go past me because that was the better choice, because actually then at least one of us could be on the podium. Because if we don't do that, then I don't actually remember who we fought for that podium position in the end, but then he would have been got that podium. And of course, since last race in Japan, Jan helped me with getting the podium. I paid him back today. So yeah, overall I'm happy, but still a bit disappointed because of that qualifying.
Well, what could have been, I suppose. I mean, it's not all bad. You're now P4 in the championship. You're even on points with your teammate as well, and you're very, very close to Reuven in front and Jose at the top of the standings. So at the end of round number 4, you and the team in general, you're sitting in a very, very good position. So I guess the plan from now onwards is just to keep going, keep winning races, or, you know, pushing for race wins, should I say, and keep doing your stuff.
Yeah, as I mentioned last week as well in the interviews, I still think that True North has the strongest lineup in the field, so we are slowly getting where we should actually be.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you very much for joining us, Norbert, and best of luck.
Of course.
See you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
That was Norbert Jakab, and that looks like it is it for our interviews then, because for reasons that I can't quite explain, because normally everyone wants to speak to me. Tonight I'm just very unpopular, and no one wants to speak to me at all, which is a massive, massive shame. But that's just how the cookie is going to crumble, I am sure. That is it then for round number 4, a quarter of the way through the season here. And boy, oh boy, what a race we have just seen. Absolutely hectic, to put it mildly. Yeah, just fantastic, fantastic, fantastic the entire way through. Thank you very much for joining us. Again, a big thank you to Fabian Jungbluth on the cameras. And of course, a massive thank you as well to Carlos Martin. Again, he had to shoot off a little bit earlier, unfortunately, but I'm sure he will be back. Well, of course he'll be back at some point. We can see him racing on Thursday in Super League. Same time, same place to watch the Super League. The big boys head round here at the Jeddah Corny circuit. In terms of Superlights, though, another 2 weeks for us. It'll be the 6th of April. That Tuesday, we'll be heading to circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia for the Spanish round. Until then, take care.